name is Marella. I invite you to take a good sitting position. Press your sit bones into the floor. Sit tall. Turn your attention inwards and bring your awareness to your breath. We'll open with 3 ohms. If you wish, you can bring your hands to your heart. Exhale. Inhale. 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 Open your eyes, release your hands. So the word of the day is a couple of words as usual. Let silence take you to the core of your being. During these times, there have been many times when we have found ourselves in silence, when perhaps we've put down social media, when there has been nobody else around us, and that silence becomes a place either of fear or a place that you actively liked going into. So reminding ourselves to bring that into our lives more and more, and that silence is always there. It's only ever broken by sound. And when we begin to welcome it into our lives and to nourish it and to grow it. So just to close off on our word of the day, let silence take you to the core of your life. And notwithstanding having problems with our communications, sometimes it's just best to be in a silent place. So make your way onto your hands and knees and move into down dog. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Turn your toes under, lift your hips up. Externally rotate your upper arms and really feel that lovely stretch. Bending deep into one knee and bending deep into the other knee. Bring your dog for a walk on this somewhat rainy day in Ireland, if you have a dog. Waking up your hips. Pushing deeply into one heel and then down into the other. And make your way onto your hands and knees, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and coming into cat-cow. Exhale, round your back up. Inhale, sink down, lift your head, look up. Make that movement of your spine as exaggerated as you possibly can. Exhale, round up. Inhale, sinking down, body following breath. And coming back to a place of stillness, round your back up and bring your knee towards your elbow and just hold it there and look towards your navel, foot off the floor. More difficult, more doable, place your toe on the floor and just hold and take 5 breaths. And release and switch to the other side. Exhale, round your back up. Bring your elbow towards bring your knee towards your elbow and take 5 breaths. And then release your knee to the floor, walk your knees back, turn your toes under. Float your shoulders over your wrists, lift your head, look up, come into plank, engage your core. gently all the way to the floor. Arms by your sides, turn your palms up. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders off the floor, squeeze your shoulder blades together down your back, flare your toes, gaze ahead. And make your way onto your elbows, clasp your hands together, interlace your fingers, turn your toes under, and then just lift your hips off the floor, engage your core. And make your way to kneeling up. Step your right foot forward, front knee over ankle, and place your left hand on the floor and lift your right arm up. More doable, keep your back knee on the floor. More difficult, turn your toes under and lift your back knee off the floor. And again, it's your choice, listen to your body, just whatever suits you. Notice that place of silence as you come into the pose. Or if there is sound around you, don't chase it, just allow it to be there, to be part of your practice. Allow that hand to come to the floor and switch feet. Front foot back, back foot forward, knee over ankle. Place your weight on your right hand and lift your left arm up and look up. Lift the back of your back knee up. Or you can keep your back knee on the floor. Lower your hands to the floor, step your feet together. Coming into power pose, hands band. Clasp your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and bring your hands onto your lower back by bending your elbows. Feet can be together, more doable, more doable. Feet hip width apart, more difficult, feet together. Then bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, lift your arms off your back, stretch your knuckles up towards the ceiling, sit back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up, and moving into crescent. Step your feet together. Inhale your right arm up by your ear and lift your left arm and clasp your wrist. Move your hips to the right, your torso to the left. Be as sideways as possible. Root down equally with both feet into the floor. And then just gently encouraging that right arm over a little bit more. And be careful as you're crescenting into the side, you're leaning into that side, just to keep that side stretched as well. And always, as usual, lift your gaze to the horizon, even if your horizon is a wall opposite you. You can imagine my horizon this morning. I'm looking out on a beautiful green field where the trees are on the horizon. Somewhat grey, lots of rain. Inhale, come back to centre and switch to the other side. Catch your wrist, move your hips to the left, your torso to the right, be as sideways as possible. Feel a lovely stretch all down that side of your body. Inhale, come back up to center, release your arms by your sides. Moving into lunge pose, walk to the back of your mat, place your hands on your hips, take a big step forward with attitude and intention with your right foot, front knee over ankle, and then lower your hands to the floor either side of your front foot, lift your head, look up. Lift your back heel up to vertical, gaze out. Stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Press down with all four corners of your front foot into the floor. Be up on your fingertips if you are already not up on them. You could also use blocks here. And then switch legs, front foot back, back foot forward. Lift your back knee, the back of your back knee as high as you can, keeping your toes on the floor, your heel vertical over your toes, and of course your front knee is right over your ankle. From here we're moving into twisted lunge. So keeping your feet where they are, lift your torso upright. Bring your hands as if in prayer in front of you. And then cross your body. Bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Lift your top elbow pointed at the ceiling. Press knee into elbow, elbow into knee. Keep your front knee over your front ankle. Roll your left ribs back, your left shoulder back. Look down at your front toes. Big twisted lunge. Endeavour to line up your thumbs with your sternum. Lower your hands to the floor and switch feet. Front foot back, back foot forward, torso upright, hands to heart. Cross your body with your elbow. Place it outside your front knee. Point your top elbow at the ceiling. Stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Look down at your front foot. Lift the back of your back knee up. And step your back foot to join your front foot. Make your way to mountain. Hands by your side, close your eyes, turn in. Drop into the core of your being, to the natural essence of yourself. Walk to the back of your mat. Moving into high lunge. Lift your arms by your ears. Point palms towards each other. Hands shoulder width apart. Step forward with attitude and intention with your right foot. Bend your front knee, sink down. Front shin vertical. Thigh parallel. Lift the back of your back knee up. Engage your quads, tighten your glutes. Hug the muscles to the bones in your biceps. Look up. Keeping your feet where they are, press down, stand up and pivot to the other end of your mat all the way around. Bend your front knee, sink down. Make sure you're not leaning over your front knee, torso upright. Lift your gaze. Press down, stand up, allow your arms to come down. Pivot, Step your feet together, walk to the back of your mat. Moving into down dog once more. Inhale, lift your arms up. Step forward with your right foot, lower your hands to the floor and step your right foot back. Staying in down dog or take your weight onto your left hand and reach across your body and clasp your right shin with your right hand. Look under your left arm. And switch to the other side. Take your weight on your right hand, clasp the outside of your left shin with your left hand and look under your right armpit. And release and walk your hands to your feet. Make your way up to standing. Bring your hands to your heart. And coming into twisted power pose, bend your knees, lower your hips. Bring your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Press elbow into knee, knee into elbow. Roll left ribs back, left shoulder back. Line up knees with hips. And endeavouring to line up your thumbs with your sternum. Sit back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch to the other side. Bend your knees, lower your hips, bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee, press knee into elbow, elbow into knee, roll right shoulder back, right ribs back, sit back on throne. Inhale, press down, stand up. Coming into mountain once more. Stretch your arms down by your sides. Root down into your feet. Squeeze your shins in. Stand tall. Moving into eagle, bend your knees, lift your right, shift your weight onto your left foot and lift your right leg and wrap it around the left. Lift the left arm and wrap the right underneath. Hug the midline, back straight, bend the standing legs, sink down, lift your gaze. And switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot, lift your left leg, wrap it around the right, lift your right arm, wrap the left underneath, hug the midline, bend the standing leg, sink down, back straight. Inhale, press down, stand up. Moving into levitating sage. Place your hands on your hips. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Squeeze your elbows back behind you. Lift your right knee up. More doable, just stay here. More difficult, stretch it out in front. And release. towards the floor. Bend the left knee, lift it up as high as you can. Stay here or stretch it out in front. And gently release. Moving into warrior 3. You can do this a number of ways. Place your hands on your hips and step forward, or stretch your arms out in front. So if you're stretching your arms out in front, clasp your hands together, point your index finger, step forward with your right foot, bend your front knee, take your weight, lean forward, lift your back leg off the floor, straighten, strengthen the standing leg. Inhale, press down, stand up, lower that foot to the floor, walk to the back of your mat, and over onto the other side. Not forgetting, as you lift your back leg up, to point your back knee at the floor and to level across the plane, the horizon of your buttocks, so that your right hip is not high. Take your weight, stretch your leg up behind you, straighten, strengthen the standing leg, flex and point your right foot. Gently release. And moving into no hand lunge. Turn and face the side of your mat, step your feet wide apart and turn your right foot out. Line up your front heel so it bisects the arch of your back foot. Clasp your hands behind your back, bend your elbows so that your thumb is in the region of that end of your spine there, in your lower back. Bend your right knee, sink down, and then hinge forward, bring your head towards the floor, lift your arms up, stretch your knuckles up towards the ceiling, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quad, allow your head to drop. Bring your arms to vertical or beyond. Lower your elbows, press into your front foot, straighten your front leg, make your way back up to sit, up to standing. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out, bend your front knee, sink down, hinge forward, lift your arms off your back, stretch your knuckles up, and allow your head to drop. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, front knee tracking over ankle. Lower your hands, press down into your front foot, straighten your front leg, and turn your feet towards each other, step your feet together. And moving once more into Trikonasana, step your feet wide apart, turn your right foot out. You might like to use a block here or not. Inhale, lift your arms up, hands in line with shoulders. Lean forward over your front leg, place your hand either on the floor or on a block, lift your top arm up to vertical, roll the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, roll your left hip back, your left ribs back, bring your attention back to your breath, engage your quads. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch to the other end of the mat. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out. Inhale your arms up, hands in line with shoulders. And then reach forward, place your hand on the floor and lift your top arm up to vertical. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quads, roll hip back, roll shoulder back, gaze out straight in front of you. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch to the other end of the mat. And moving into, put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing, reverse mudra. So turn your right foot out. So your right foot, your toes are pointing towards the short end of the mat. And turn your back foot so it's at 45 degrees, it's pointing towards the side of your mat. Then square your hips, your shoulders to the short end of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, place your hands on the floor. Bring your chin to your shin, or wherever it is for you today. You may not be able to get your hands to the floor. You might like to put your hands on your hips and just squeeze your elbows back. Whatever works for you. Engage your quads. Lovely folding in on ourselves in reverse mudra. Draw your right hip back. Inhale, press down, stand up and switch sides. Front foot back, back foot forward. Square towards the front end of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, place your hands on the floor. And chin to shin, keep engaging your quads. On every inhalation stretching, on every exhalation sinking, folding in even deeper. Press down, stand up. And moving into band side angle, step your feet wide apart. Turn your right foot out. Bend your right knee. Front knee over ankle. Place your hands on the floor on the inside of your front foot. And then lift your left arm and place it on your back. Lift your right arm. Bring it underneath your right thigh and clasp your hands together behind you. Roll your left shoulder back, your left ribs back. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quads. Press shoulder into knee, knee into shoulder. Observe your breath. Release your hands, straighten your front knee, inhale all the way up and turn towards the back of the mat. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out, bend your front knee. Place your hands on the big toe side of your front foot and then lift your right arm and bring it across your back. Lift your left hand arm and bring it under your front leg. Clasp your hands behind you. Roll your ribs back, your shoulder back, gaze out in front. Release your hands, press down, stand up, left foot in, right foot out. And moving into revolved Trikonasana, step your feet together. Step your right foot forward. Square your hips, your shoulders to the front end of your mat. Place your right hand on your hip. Lift your left arm up. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward and place your hand on the little toe side of your front foot. Keep that, might be as far as you go. Roll your ribs back, your right shoulder back, and if it's available to you, lift your right arm up. If you find yourself unbalanced in this pose, try moving your feet wider apart on the mat, laterally wider apart, towards the long edges of your mat. Squeeze your back hip, front inner thigh towards each other. Turn your sit bones up. Inhale, press down, stand up, lower your arm, step your feet together and switch to the other side. Step your left foot forward, lift your right arm up, square your hips, your shoulders to the front end of your mat, cross your body and place your hand on the little toe side of your front foot, and then either keep your hand on your hip, stay here, or lift your arm up to vertical. Draw your left hip back, your right hip forward, roll your ribs back, your shoulder back, turn your sit bones up, engage your quads. And release and come onto your hands and knees. Clean my glasses, they're steaming up. It's hard to teach and to practice. Okay. Forearm lunge, step your right foot forward. If you use blocks, now would be time to grab one and lower your elbows onto the blocks, or simply lower your elbows to the floor. More doable, keep your back knee on the floor. More difficult, turn your toes under and lift your back knee off the floor. Stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Bring attention to your breath. Lower your knee and switch feet. Front foot back, back foot forward. Lower down onto your elbows, clasp your hand, turn your toes under, lift your back knee off the floor, stretch your front knee away from your back heel. Release your knee to the floor and come and sit up, coming into seated pigeon. Bend your right knee and bring your heel into your upper inner thigh. Bend your left knee and lift your left foot off the floor and baby cradle it. Bring the sole of your left foot into the crook of your arm and the knee into the crook of the other arm. This one way of doing it, or simply hook both arms under your shin and lift it up like so, whatever feels good for you. And then when you're in a place that you think is comfortable, move your shin across your body a little bit more. Press the sit bones into the floor, sit tall, make both feet active. And release and switch to the other side. Lift your right foot, place the sole of the foot into the crook of the arm, press the knee into the crook of the other arm, sit tall, make both feet active. And gently release. And come all the way down to your belly and moving into cobra. Place your arms in cobra arms. Hands by your sides, forearms vertical. Squeeze your elbows in, hands good and close into your ribs. Press the tops of your feet on the floor. Inhale, coming through the gateway of your arms. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Keep squeezing your inner heels towards each other, your inner thighs. Drawing your upper body out of the framework of your hips. Move your ears back. Tighten your glutes. Lower down once more. Moving into elevated half frog. Bring your left forearm across the front of your body. And then bend your right knee and reach back and clasp your ankle or your foot. If it's available to you, pivot your foot, pivot your hand on top of your foot so that your fingers are pointing forward. If it's not available for you, just simply grab your ankle. Then inviting your knees to come a little bit closer to each other. And then squeeze your heel into your hip. You can stay on your elbow or come up onto a hand. Press the top of the other foot into the floor, flare your toes. And switch sides. Take your weight on your right hand, or right elbow. Bring your knees together, bend your left knee. Reach back, clasp your left foot, and again if you can pivot your hands so your fingers are pointing forward, your elbow pointing at the ceiling, or if not, just simply grab your ankle. Invite the heel down towards the front of the foot. Invite the heel down towards the side of your body. Lift your head and shoulders. Press the top of the other foot into the floor, flare your toes, lift your knee off the floor. Gently release. And coming into king pigeon. Place both arms by your sides, forearms vertical, elbows pointing towards the ceiling. Bend your knees, knees hip width apart. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Squeeze your heels into your hips. And gently release. And coming into garland pose, squat pose. Make your way to standing. Bend your knees and just squat down. You can place your hands on the floor, like so, or you can reach back and clasp your heels. Squeeze your knees into your body into you squeeze your knees into your body and round, and bring your head towards the floor. The wider your feet are apart and pointing out at 45 degrees, the easier this pose is. Release. And come in and sit in legs crossed. Cross left ankle over right ankle and lift your right arm. Bend it and bring your hand down your back. Lift your left arm out to the side, clasp your hands behind you, interlace your fingers if you can. Actually just grab grab your fingers any way you can. If you can't do this, it's good to grab a strap or a belt or a tie. Press down equally with both sit bones into the floor. Sit tall. Point your top elbow at the ceiling. Release and switch to the other side. Lift your left arm, bend your elbow, bring it down your back. Bring your other arm around behind you and see if you can catch your fingers there. And I forgot to say, swap the cross of your legs. And gently release and move into star pose. Feet wide apart. Sometimes I like to use a block, sort of that width apart, and drawing them back towards you. Hinge forward, holding onto your ankles, and just inhale, stretch forward, turn your sit bones up, exhale, sink down, and just go to wherever gravity brings you. Press the lower side of the outside edge of both feet towards each other. Inhale back to center. I'm coming into both big toe pose. Bend your knees, clasp both big toes with the first two fingers of each hand. Lean back slightly, walk your heels in towards your hips. Lift your heels off the floor. Stretch one leg up, stretch the other leg up. Legs apart initially, more doable. Press down with your sit bones into the floor, push through your heels, engage your quads, and then if it's available to you, bring your legs together, look up, engage your quads, press the backs of your knees away from you. Bend your knees and lower your feet. I'm coming into bow pose. Come and lie in your belly. Bend your knees. Bring your heels into your hips. Clasp your ankles. Use your legs to lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Kick your heels up and back. Lift them up as high as you can. So you're almost up onto your pubic bone now. Keep lifting them. And gently release. And come and lie on your back. And either come into bridge pose or upward bow. So you know what to do. Lie on your back, bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips. And then if you're coming into bridge, lift your hips off the floor. Walk your arms underneath, clasp your hands together. If you're coming into upward bow, place your hands under your shoulders. Turn your fingers towards your feet. Point your elbows at the ceiling. Press down with your hands into the floor. Press down with your feet into the floor. Inhale, make your way up onto your head or push on up, whatever's available for you today. Turn your toes in. and gently release. And make your way down into constructive rest. Bend your knees. Walk your feet out towards the long edges of the mat. Allow your knees to lean in towards each other. Place the palms of your hands on your lower belly. Thumbs together. Index fingers together. Thumbs pointing towards navel. Index fingers pointing towards pubic bone. Moving into reclined bowing sage. Curl your right knee into your chest and clasp your right foot with both hands and stretch your right leg up. Press through your heel, press the back of your knee away from you. Press the left foot into the floor. You might like to use a strap here either and draw your leg towards you. Gently release and switch to the other side. Bend your left knee, bring your left knee into your chest, clasp your foot, stretch your leg up, press the back of your knee away from you. Press your lower back into the floor, draw your leg towards you. And release. And coming into Tibetan weaponry. You need to create a little bit of space either side of you. Look at the time here. It's okay. Bend your knees. Roll over onto your left hip. Stretch your right leg out, which is your top leg, and clasp your foot with your left hand. Then reach for your right ankle and bring your, I've got that wrong, reach for your left ankle and bring your heel in towards your hip. So your right leg is stretched out, being held by the opposite hand. Your left knee is bent, being held by the opposite hand. Inviting your shoulder blades onto your back. Then lift your head off the floor, turn it, place it on the floor, look away from your knees. And gently release and switch to the other side. Bend your knees, roll over onto your right hip. I'll do it to the other end of the mat so you can see. Stretch your top leg out, which is your left leg. Hold it with the opposite arm. And then reach for your right ankle. Reach for your right ankle and move your right knee away from you. Invite your shoulder blades on your back. Look back behind you. Engage the quad of the outstretched leg. And release. Coming into double diamond. But in this case, lift your arms overhead, clasp your hands together, point your index finger. Bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips. Allow your knees to drop down to the right and look back behind you, look towards the left. Look away from your knees. Inhale back to center and over onto the other side. And moving into thread the needle, bend both knees, lift your right foot, bring the outside edge of your right foot to your left knee. You can stay here or bring your left knee in towards your chest, clasp your knee, make both feet active, press your lower back into the floor. And switch. And it's time for relaxation. Stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out. Make yourself comfortable. You might like to put a blanket over you or an eye bag. And simply sink into the floor. Move out of the thinking brain into the heart. Relaxing. Begin to deepen your breathing. Bring your attention back to your body and onto the mat. Start to awaken your body by moving your hands, your feet. Perhaps give yourself a stretch. Or if you wish, you can stay here. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, roll to one side, and make your way up to sitting. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, close your eyes, turn in one last time, and allow the silence to bring you to the core of your life. To honour ourselves, each other, the practice, we close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice. See you on the mat.